The baffling disappearance of Trevaline Evans. Trevaline Evans was a 52-year-old Welsh woman who vanished in bizarre circumstances after leaving her antique shop in northern Wales on June 16, 1990. Despite a huge police investigation, absolutely no trace of Trevaline has ever been found. Trevaline Evans was born on September 6, 1937. Born Trevaline Davis, she married Richard Evans and had a son, also called Richard. Although very little is known about her life, she seemed to be happy and was well liked by all who knew her. Trevaline had a love for all things old, and in 1989 she opened her own antique shop, Attic Antiques, in her hometown of Llangollen. On Saturday, June 16, 1990, Trevaline arrived at her shop on Church Street and opened at the usual time of 9:30 a.m., parking her car approximately 200 yards away. Throughout the morning, around 25 friends and customers visited the store and would later describe Trevaline as being happy and relaxed, making plans to go out later that evening. At around 12:40 p.m., Trevaline left her shop, placing a sign in the door that read, "Back in 2 minutes." It was later reported that just before she placed this note on the door, she was seen speaking to a well-dressed man outside the shop. At around 1 p.m., Trevaline bought a banana and an apple at a local shop, and there was a confirmed sighting of her crossing the road near Castle Street. Her whereabouts is unknown for the next 90 minutes, but the last confirmed sighting of Trevaline was at 2:30 p.m., walking down Market Street close to her home. However, her shop never reopened, and customers who purchased items from the street side boxes outside the store had to post cash through the letterbox on the front door. At around 6 p.m. that night, a local woman was driving past the shop when she noticed a man standing outside. Although she couldn't be certain, she stated that she thought the front door to the store had been open when she drove past. By this stage, with no sign of Trevaline, her family had gone out to look for her and arrived at the store. They reported that the front door was locked, but inside they found her handbag, keys, jacket, fruit, and a bunch of flowers on the counter. Her car was also still parked outside, left in the same place that it had been parked earlier that morning. There was a banana peel in the shop's bin, which raised the question of whether she had made it back to work with the fruit she had purchased after leaving the store, but this was never confirmed. With no sign of Trevaline anywhere, she was reported missing. With Trevaline now a missing person, potential sightings started to come in. One woman claimed she saw her at around 2:35 p.m., 5 minutes after the last confirmed sighting, walking in the opposite direction of where she'd last been seen and heading out of town beside the Riverside Park. Another alleged sighting was a few minutes after the first, when a woman matching Trevaline's description was seen walking out of the Riverside Park. However, neither of these sightings were officially confirmed. Interestingly, a local housewife came forward and stated that on Thursday, June 14th, 2 days before Trevaline vanished, she had walked past the antique shop and noticed Trevaline talking to 2 men, one younger and one older. The following day, Friday 15th, the older man was spotted, once again speaking to Trevaline outside her shop. He was described as distinguished looking and very well dressed, wearing a navy blue suit and carrying a black briefcase. It's believed that this was the same man who was seen speaking to Trevaline outside her shop on Saturday 16th, the day she vanished. An extensive police investigation was conducted in the area, with over 1,500 names being checked and 700 cars eliminated from the inquiry. Thorough searches were carried out in the River Dee and the local canal, as well as local caves and mineshafts, but no trace of Trevaline was found. Her bank account also remained untouched after her disappearance, leading investigators to believe that serious harm came to her that day. However, with so little evidence and no solid eyewitnesses, the case went cold very quickly. Eventually, with no leads as to what happened and no signs of life, Trevaline was legally declared dead in 1997. The case was reopened in 2001, in the hopes that advances in forensic techniques might produce new evidence and leads. Trevaline's husband was arrested around this time, but he was quickly released with no charges, and the case ran cold again. It was reopened again in 2010, but still remains unsolved, with no new leads, evidence, or even any idea as to what happened to her. Detective Chief Inspector Colin Edwards spoke of the case, stating, "How a happily married woman could vanish without trace on a sunny Saturday morning in a busy town center is totally baffling," and described it as the strangest inquiry. Since the disappearance, there have been alleged sightings of Trevaline in London, France, and even Australia. However, these claims never produced any results. In 2019, two brothers claimed to have found evidence that would suggest that Trevaline was buried at Rutland Golf Club. However, police searches yielded no results. It's also been reported that metal plaques started to appear on benches, alluding to her fate and demanding justice be sought. However, this also seems to have led nowhere. In 2024, a mini-documentary posted by British television company Channel 4 took another look at Trevaline's disappearance and introduced some new information that shed a different light on the case. It was revealed that Trevaline wasn't as happy in her marriage as many believed. In fact, she just received £10,000 inheritance from one of her lovers prior to her disappearance. It was also revealed that the well-dressed man she had been speaking to was actually her brother. He worked and lived in Budapest most of the time, so the townspeople hadn't recognized him initially. Most interestingly of all, it was revealed that her husband Richard had actually been in the town that day, whenever he was supposed to be several hours away, working on their holiday bungalow. Several eyewitness reports put him in a local pub just prior to Trevaline's disappearance, which is unusual as he had never mentioned to anyone that he had returned early. Additionally, he was seen disposing of carpet and furniture shortly after she disappeared. It's been over 34 years since Trevaline Evans vanished without a trace, and her case is no closer to being solved today than it was back then. Her son, husband and two brothers have all passed away in the years since, and with nobody to keep her story in the public eye, attention on her case has slowly faded. Unless a body is found or some new information is unearthed, Trevaline's case remains unsolved.